Hi, welcome to TCM Talk.
Hi everybody, I'm Denise Chiquito, licensed acupuncturist and Chinese herbalist. Now I'm going to just share this with our viewers just a second.
And I am Kirsten Cowan. I'm a licensed acupuncturist and a herbalist here in the San Francisco Bay Area. I'm also the creator and founder of Angelica and Peony, Radiant Natural Health and Beauty. You can find links to everything that we talk about on TCM Talk on our Pinterest board, bit.ly/Periscope pins. You can find archives of all our broadcasts on our YouTube channel, bit.ly/TCM Talk vids. And you can email us with questions about anything we say on our episodes or questions that you'd like us to answer on a future episode, traditionalchinesemedicinetalk@gmail.com.
I couldn't read that comment. I think it said weed.
Yeah, not that
Welcome
kind of herbal
everybody.
medicine
Yes.
particularly.
Yes. So I wanted to talk about top 10 pain management tips that I came up with. And Kirsten talked a lot about on the last scope about moxa. We'll touch on that later. And last 2 weeks ago, she also did about food. And those are two things I'll be talking about briefly here today. But I want to start with some tips that are just basic tips that I tell my patients all the time and are good things to keep in mind if you suffer from either acute pain or chronic pain. I myself have had to learn these lessons in the past few weeks because I broke my fingers while camping.
Oh, Exhibit A.
So the first tip I have to say is be gentle with yourself. Because sometimes people can be really hard on themselves if they're in pain and they can't do stuff and they, get down on themselves. And I would say that's the number one tip, is to be gentle with yourself. Number two is be patient, because healing takes time. And if it's a chronic pain condition, sometimes it requires even more patience. If people don't know about it, I would say check out my other article I have listed on the Pinterest board, bit.ly/Periscope pins, right?
Yes.
That's the link. I have an article about Qi and the spoon theory, which is, if you don't know about the spoon theory, it's a way of talking about chronic pain and chronic mental illness by Christine Miserandino, I think is her name. And in my article, I basically talk about the similarities between talking about Qi, which is how we talk about energy flow in Chinese medicine, and the spoon theory. And basically, the short version is that in the spoon theory, people talk about how much energy they have in terms of how many spoons they have. At the beginning of a day, you might have 10 spoons, and you spend them basically by the activities you do, and it takes people with chronic pain or chronic mental illness more spoons to get through their day, and how that relates to Qi in Chinese medicine. So check that out, Qi and the spoon theory.
It's a great article.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Number three, don't overdo it. If you go to see an acupuncturist, chiropractor, massage therapist, whoever you go see for treatment, if you feel better after treatment, you might feel a lot better right after your treatment or the next day, and then you might want to go and push yourself because you feel great and you want to work out, you want to run, you want to swim. I would say it's okay to do those things, but just try to be mindful of the fact that you might re-injure yourself if you're not careful. So don't overdo it is tip number three. Tip number four, get plenty of rest. That means sleep. That means lying in bed. That doesn't mean, I stayed home and just played video games all day. Playing video games all day can be restful, but it's not the kind of rest we're talking about. I know this because I have a friend who just recently had a motorcycle accident and knee surgery, and his mom was like, rest. That means no video games for 4 hours a day. And she's right. Resting, sleep is one of the ways our bodies can heal.
Yeah.
Think about that. That's number four. Number five, ask for help when you need it. I know that I'm really stubborn. And for the past 3 weeks while I was on vacation, I couldn't do things like put my bracelet on, or I couldn't do dishes. That was kind of a good bonus, actually, not being able to do dishes. But I had to go up to my friends and say, "Can you put my bracelet on, please?" It's humbling. It's really humbling, but you don't want to risk re-injuring yourself.
Yeah.
So just ask for help, and I'm sure your friends who love you will be happy to give it to you. Please chime in if you have anything else.
This
to
is
add.
all really good advice. What can I say?
So the next 5 are more things that you can get help with from your acupuncturist, herbalist, and also other apps that are available that can help you. So number 6 is food as medicine. Kirsten did a whole scope on that a couple weeks ago. You can ask your acupuncturist and herbalist about foods to help reduce inflammation, because inflammation can be caused by different foods that we eat. And for everybody, there are general recommendations for reducing inflammation, but everybody's different depending on your constitution. And your acupuncturist will be able to help you figure that out. There is a great set of meal plans that an acupuncturist in Canada came up with called the Yin Yang Diet Plan. And if there's not a link there on our Pinterest board, I'll make sure there is one.
We'll put one there, yeah. Her stuff is great, both in explaining the traditional Chinese medicine perspective on dietary medicine, and also great recipes and like yummy meal plans.
Yeah, it's really great. Then the number 7 is herbs. Like with food, I would tell you to ask your acupuncturist and herbalist which herbs you can use topically and internally. Kirsten touched on some of those in our last scope here today, but also in the 2 weeks ago you touched on that as well with moxa. Yeah,
I did a whole scope 2 weeks ago about topical treatments for pain of all kinds.
Right.
Yeah.
So there are some great things that are available to us. To anybody topically that you can get from your practitioner, from Angelica and Peony, from Kirsten, and other places online as well. Some of them are by prescription only from your acupuncturist or herbalist, but a lot of them you can get without a prescription as well. Those are the topical ones. I'm talking about the internal ones. You really should seek the guidance of an actual herbalist, a licensed practitioner. 8 is moxa, mugwort. Kirsten just talked about that. We could talk about this all day.
Moxa
sticks. We've got quite a few scopes we've talked about.
We love moxa.
And there's lots of ways you can use it for yourself at home with the sticks that Kirsten showed before, which I'll take it out again.
Do you need help? Oh, you did it.
Oh, I did this one by myself. But, and not with a bandage, but you can just hold it when it's lit. It looks like a cigarette, but it's made of herbs that are good for you and smell nice. And you just hold it over the area. And it's really good when you do it yourself because you can be the judge of if it gets too hot really quickly. There's also other devices we use, like a belly bowl, which are round containers that have like a little incense type stick of moxa, and you can use those over your belly like it's called, or you can use it on different points that you can lie flat. You can lie the belly bowl flat on your body. That's a great thing to do, like your low back, like you were talking about. And number 9 is mindfulness meditation. There are some great apps like Buddhify, which I always talk about, which is something you can get for your iPhone or Android, I think, as well, that have different sections depending on what you're looking for, what your activity is of the day. And there's a pain and illness section on Buddhify that you can listen to. And I know that isn't there a podcast that you talked about?
Yeah, a fairly new podcast called Painiac, which is by Shelley Jackson, who's a mindful pain management coach. Actually, she works with folks to help them manage their chronic pain, really focused on folks with chronic pain. And she talks a lot about mindfulness meditation, and we have some links on our Periscope board that came from her about how effective mindfulness meditation is, especially for folks dealing with chronic pain. There's actually a lot of Western studies backing up that impact that mindfulness meditation has on lessening the severity and the impact of chronic pain.
Great.
Yeah.
That's good to know. And number 10 is keeping a pain diary. And there's different apps that you can use for this. There is a My Symptoms app, which is mostly set to track your food intake, but you can also list symptoms, and then you can export it as a PDF and give it to your practitioner, which is great, because I think it's sometimes when acupuncturists or other practitioners ask patients to keep a diary, it's like, oh no, I have to do this thing. It's really time consuming, and I don't want to tell them I had ice cream. So, but if you keep a pain diary, it can be really helpful to show what the triggers are for pain, not just food, but it's really helpful for acupuncturists, for example, to know when you have pain. Does it hurt worse when you get up in the morning? Does it hurt worse at night? Is it constant throughout the day? Does it feel dull, achy, throbbing, sharp, stabbing? And does it hurt more in different types of weather, like really humid or really hot, or chilly weather? Or I said humid, yeah, damp weather.
Yeah.
Those are all good clues to help your acupuncturist find out what the root cause is of your pain and to help you move forward. Anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, I think that, interestingly, I think, that something like a pain diary can help with kind of mindfulness as well.
Mm-hmm.
They go really well together, I think, is, increasing your own awareness about your body, what it's doing, what it's saying to you, relationships between, how your day has gone and how pain might be affecting you.
Mm-hmm.
Even for fairly acute types of pain, is not only, I think, applicable to folks with chronic pain, but even folks recovering from an injury. There's as you said in the very first tips, I think, being patient with yourself, being gentle with yourself. Healing does take time, even if it's from, an injury, something that you are going to get better, is going to get better, and you know that. But the curve of healing is up and down.
Mm-hmm.
And tracking, improvement and regression can be really helpful.
Yeah. Thank you. So that's about all we have today. You can find more of the information we talk about here on our Pinterest board, bit.ly/Periscope pins, and you can find the archives of all of our videos on bit.ly/TCM Talk Vids. And we'll be back in September, the 1st and the 15th, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
With our back to school special Periscopes. And we'll be talking more about things you can do to help your immune system to get you through the back to school season, no matter what age you are.
Yes, we are all affected by the season, even if we're not going back to school.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So thanks very much, and we'll see you in a few weeks. Bye.
Bye.